Hello everyone, and welcome back to this first video here in our video review series for the AP Stats exam. This video today is going to be specifically about the start of confidence intervals. And so this video itself is just going to cover one proportion Z intervals, but we're also going to talk about confidence intervals as a whole and what is the goal of them. So let's jump right into it so we can get some definitions and get moving. Now, the big idea behind confidence intervals is we're going to take a sample, cast a net in a certain direction, and I really mean in both directions, and hope that we capture the population number. That is the idea, that I'm going to take one sample that I hope is representative, cast a net in both directions, and hope that the true population number is in there. So to show you what I mean by that, all right, I guess I can't show you what I mean by that because I don't have Wi-Fi. But the general idea still, right, is I'm going to get my sample proportion, let's say here, and I'm going to cast a net in this direction and then in this direction, and hope that somewhere the true proportion is in fact there. That is the big idea behind confidence intervals. And so, why are they important? Well, one, they help us make some kind of conclusion about our population parameter. But what's really important about them is that all they help us do is to exclude values. If the number that you care about making a conclusion on is in your interval, it could be that number, or it could be any other number that's in that interval as well. But if the number that you care about is outside of the interval, you definitely have evidence that it is not that number. So that is one thing that's very, very important right here, is that confidence intervals help us to exclude numbers. They will never give you evidence that it is a number, but they can always give you evidence that it's not a specific number. So let's take a look at our newest acronym now, which is PANIC. P stands for parameter. A stands for assumptions. N is numbers. I is interval. And C is conclusion. These are the 5 things you need to do to make sure you get credit on the AP exam. If you have these 5 things, you're in great shape. So let's take a look at an example here. During a flu vaccine, blah, 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 it's believed that 45% of vaccine-eligible people received a flu vaccine. The results of a given survey indicate that 978 out of the 2,350 had received it. Okay. Construct a 99% confidence interval for the proportion of vaccine-eligible people who received a flu vaccine. Cool. And now we're looking at use your confidence interval to comment on this belief. That means I'm looking for 45%. So when I look at part A here, my P is the true proportion of people who got a flu shot. Now, obviously on the actual exam, we're going to put that in the exact context of the problem, meaning I'm going to say the true proportion of vaccine-eligible people who received a flu vaccine. I'm going to copy the wording directly from the problem. For my assumptions, 1, I need to have a random sample. And in this case, we would quote the problem, which it does say a random sample of 2,350. And 2, I need to be large enough for the central limit theorem, which in this case is my 10 successes and 10 failures. So in this particular case, we had 978, and then whatever this number is, both of those are greater than 10, so I can move on. And so for my numbers, all I list here is X, which is 978, N, which was 2350, and then my confidence level, which in this case was 0.99. My interval is a 1 proportion Z interval. And now on my calculator is where I'm actually going to use this to get my answer. So it's under the stat menu and under tests. And you're looking for 1 proportion Z interval. So be careful. I'm going to put in my numbers. Make sure your confidence level is a decimal. And this gives me an interval of 0.39 to 0.44. So here is the thing that's great about this now. For my conclusion, if you remember, this is the we are 99% confident, ... But the important thing about this, if I go back to the original problem, it is believed that 45% of vaccine-eligible people received the flu vaccine. But 45% is outside of my interval. So at this point, what's very important is that we have evidence that my proportion is less than 45%. And the reason for that is that 45% falls outside of the interval. And so that is your very quick, basic review of how to perform a 1 proportion Z interval. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.